JSerra Media presents the Lion Zone. The Lion Zone is your source for the latest on JSerra Catholic High School athletics. Every week on the newly formed Brett and Brett Show, Coach Brett Kay and Coach Brett Ormsby bring you conversation, Monday morning game analysis, and interviews with coaches, players, and special guests. My name is Brett Kay. Our newly formed guest, or not even guest, new co-host is the magical Brett Ormsby. I'm going to let him do all introductions today because this is a phenomenal day.
Yeah. This is Hudson Haggard. Hudson Haggard is a senior here at JSerra, part of the boys water polo team, also a part of the broadcast journalism. Is that right?
Yeah.
And he just had an opportunity to interview Ryder Dodd here, who's recently graduated JSerra Lion, now UCLA Bruin, and Olympic bronze medalist.
Wow. I have so many questions because the last year has been kind of a whirlwind for you. I know we met back in the latter of the spring and just had so many questions about, we knew, but we kind of didn't know. Brett knew, you probably knew, I kind of knew. I mean, you're an Olympian, you're an Olympic athlete. You're going against grown men, dominant, 6'8", 6'7", whatever, just giant human beings. And you're fresh off graduating. You're fresh off a 30-0 season, everything, just the whirlwind of it all. But also the ability to handle the pressures of those moments, right? Hey, I'm going to Paris. I'm part of the Olympic team. My brother's on the Olympic team. I mean, that's another experience in itself. And then I can't even imagine the Olympic Village and everything else in between that. So, short snippet about really the year that you had and then leading up to the selection to the Paris Games. And then we'll get into the games itself because that was kind of nasty. 8 goals. It was I'm sure as a coach, proud is obviously an understatement, but from a 30,000 foot view, and I'm not tooting your horn because I'll never do that. Sorry, it's just not my DNA, but that's a pretty legendary year. It's a great year to have, and it's what you accomplished is something really, really special. So I just give me the cup of tea if you would.
I don't even know where to start. I think just starting off, I think this whole journey this year has really helped me get to this point. I think.
Dude, you got to speak into the mic.
One of our, it was funny. After our first game in the Olympics, Flavor Flav was there, and I think one thing of advice: it's not about where you start; it's about where you finish. And just to go with that, I also say it's not about the destination; it's also the journey. Which I think everything that happened in the past year has really, really shaped me as a person. Has really helped me grow. And starting back with just beginning season in CIF, I think we had a goal obviously to go undefeated and win. And just ever since then, small goals were accomplished. And I think just every day, the 1% of getting better, I think really just shaped me to getting to this place now.
And sorry, Brett, but you're back in the pool this morning.
Yeah.
When did you get back?
I got back on Monday.
When were you back in the pool?
Today was the first.
Today was the first day.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering. I'm when you got back in the pool? So I knew that you were there today, and I'm when is he going to? Because college season's got to start soon.
Yeah, it doesn't. First weekend of September is the first game.
That's crazy. I'll let you go next, Brett. You've probably already done it, so I can keep firing away.
I think let's hear more. Let's hear more about the experience. Ryder, tell us. We haven't even talked really too much about the village. What was the village like?
Yeah, I need to jump in there because this is really important to me. Who did you meet? And I'm just Michael Phelps was there. Michael Phelps was a spectator. Yeah. Simone, who might be the greatest Olympic athlete of all time. Katie Ledecky. There's.
You wanted to meet Ann Edwards. Did you meet him?
He was off the radar,
really?
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, that's right, Anthony Edwards.
So who did you meet?
I met Embiid.
Okay.
Tatum. Got a picture with them, and then I was I can't fanboy that hard. It's a little awkward, but I talked to a few guys. Colin, forget his last name, but it's a golfer. Very very successful golfer. Obviously got to see Simone, a bunch of the swimmers. I mean, being around them was obviously really cool, just the way they function. I mean, they're really down to earth people. No one's really pretty like cocky. Like, fortunately, I had an experience with the track team. We were it was the night of the 100 meters, and I mean, like, a lot of the guys on the track team didn't go in person, so we had a little team room kind of like in the village where we were staying, and like all the track guys were in there. We watched it together, and I think that environment was really funny to have people like jumping on the couches and stuff, like watching. I think just everyone really wants you to succeed on one team. I think everyone has a common goal to really gain a medal at the Olympics. So, I mean, just everyone being so supportive and just being really down to earth.
Did you think about going on the breakdancing? Watching that? That's the new one, the new crazy, where it's like just been like vilified almost, but I think it's hilarious that they had it in the Olympics this year.
Yeah, I mean, our water polo wasn't really fortunate enough to go out and watch other sports.
I'm being facetious,
yeah.
yeah.
Did you get to any other events?
No.
Yeah. So water polo goes the whole Olympics. You know, you go every other day from like pretty much the first day to the last day. Like a lot of the other athletes like either compete like
and get to watch.
And then they get to watch, yeah.
So now take us through like that, your pool play, and then getting into, you know, the quarters and the semis, et cetera. I know we were watching, I think it was, we had our staff faculty today, and you were out there, so I was sitting next to Drew. And you had to win to face, I think, Australia. Mm-hmm. I think that's who you wanted to be. So, but I also want to flip that to the certain, like, you were just in high school. Now, technicality, I think Brett's the best in the business. I think he's one of the best water polo coaches in the country. It doesn't matter if it's an Olympian or whatever. Just he's one of the best. Speed of the game, the strength of the game, the size of the players. You know, when you got out there, I know you had prepped for it and done different things leading up to the events, and I want to get into the pool play stuff in a second. But like, did you see the adjustments that you had to make personally within that environment because of the size, the speed, the length, things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not to jump like too early, but just from the first game compared to the last game, I think I realized in the first game the intensity was a lot higher compared to anything I've ever experienced. I mean, I've been to world champs, I've been to other tournaments that were also pretty big, but the Olympics is something else. It's just amplified completely. Everybody's way more just like hoorah type of, like, everyone has a sense of pride that they have to perform for their country. So that's the biggest thing that I experience is the intensity is way higher. I mean, those guys like are really playing to win, and as they should.
Do you know who the oldest, who's the oldest player on the U.S. team?
32.
Alex Obert.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he was one of our coaches this past fall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did any of them, including your brother, kind of prep you from a experience standpoint on regards to, hey, this is what to expect, this is what, you know, you're going to see from, it could be, you know, a specific team, specific players, you know, things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously Alex Obert being the oldest guy and being to 3 Olympics, it was really helpful. He had both types of experience with obviously COVID with an outside just distraction, and he was able to deal with that. So I think he was able to kind of give me just stick to what you know, and don't really, I guess, in a way, don't go outside of a system that you already know. So don't play free, but not too free. So I think just him kind of just keeping me humble in the moment, but also like kind of taking in what I can. I don't know how to.
I mean, you're already there, right?
Yeah.
You're already there. You've
Yeah.
already experienced. I mean, it's now kind of soaking it in while doing your craft, I would imagine. So,
Yeah.
Okay, now I got to get back, and I'm sorry if I'm taking all the questions from you guys. Take me into the actual games, matches itself. Like, were you nervous? Like, was there like a sense of, because there's a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of people there, and then I have to kind of fast forward. The best picture I saw of you is after the overtime penalty shot. You know, where you were, you know, right there and celebrating that, and you know, Brett's texting and saying about the environment and everything, and just how crazy that was, because men's water polo is one of the most, you know, get after attended sports in Olympics. And could you feel that?
Yeah, I mean, some situations you couldn't even hear the guy next to you. I mean, there would be like we'd be calling an after goal play, and I would be like, "What did you just say?" Like, I don't know. I can't even hear a guy 2 feet away from me, and I think I don't know when Adrian made a few blocks in our shootout. I think I couldn't even hear myself talk. It was just so loud. The just support from everybody was pretty insane.
The venue was probably one of the biggest that water polo has been played in, I would guess. Like, starting from the last game of bracket play through the medal rounds, quarterfinal, semifinal, finals, was in La Defense Arena, which is where, like, Taylor Swift played when she was over there, I don't know, in May or something like that. What you think? Like, there's like 15 to 20,000 somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I think it was like 15.
Yeah,
that's 16. Crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So okay, let's go to the quarterfinals. Lead me through that to the semis.
Yeah, I mean, quarterfinal was pretty wild. Obviously, you were playing Australia, good team. They had a pretty, I guess, Cinderella run, I guess some would say. We go, even taking us back to last World Champs, we played them in our 9th place game, and we had no problem. I think we beat them by like 8 or something. So going into the game, you obviously have that kind of in the back of your head. But we knew that they were a completely different team, and they're going to make it a close game no matter what. And going into late first quarter, one of Johnny has a very conflicted call. I think it probably shouldn't have been a brutality, so we went down for 4 minutes, playing a man down. And I think that kind of put us behind for the rest of the game. Like, they had 3 out of their 7 goals in that period, and pretty much from that point on, we were battling back. We went up by 1 in the 4th quarter. They tied it, then went up again, and we scored last possession to bring it to a shootout. And then from the shootout, then goalie played amazing. We took our penalties when we needed it, and came out on top in that game, which is really good to see because we've had problems in shootouts and on penalties. So it was kind of nice to see it.
Now that leads to the semifinals.
Yeah.
Who's in the other semi?
Croatia, Hungary.
Okay. So was that maybe your most nerve-wracking moment? Was like, okay, this is the semis. Like, this is you're either going to, the gold medal game, or you're going to, which the last time I believe USA had medaled was 12?
8.
Yeah, 2008.
2008.
Yep.
So was there extra pressure on you to perform, or from a team perspective?
Honestly, team perspective, I think obviously there's always pressure when playing at that level, but
this is the top 4 teams in the world.
Yeah, but the opponent that we had, I think honestly had all the pressure. I mean, they're 2-time defending Olympic gold medalists, so going into the game, I think they knew that they had to kind of show that they deserved to be there in a sense, and we just kind of had to show that it wasn't like a fluke that we were in the semifinals. So obviously, I think going into the game, we had our ups and downs. We had our opportunities in the game, but overall, we just couldn't convert when it really mattered. And obviously, they're a really experienced team. They have now 3-time gold medalist, and they kind of just their experience, I think, came in big, and kind of just over a course of the game, I kind of think it just hurt us. So
then you have the bronze medal match. Mm-hmm. You lose the semis, which is tough to take in, but you have to turn around and do that. And you're still playing for your country. You're still playing, like, you still got to get back to details and structure and organization and discipline. And it's hard to do that. Like, hey, but you also get a chance to medal for the first time in 2008. So take us through that last match.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think after the semifinals, everyone's really bummed. Like, we're sitting in the warm-up area, like, some are, like, even crying. Like, we're just, like, obviously not very, like, happy. Like, you feel like your tournament's just over. You have nothing to play for. And I think our assistant coach, Gavin, was really helpful. Like, everyone was sulking, just really sad. And he's just like, we have to keep moving. Let's warm down. We still got another game to play. And I think that was, like, kind of huge for us, knowing that we have a chance to get a medal for the first time since 2008. So,
which is crazy in its own right. I mean,
and before that, it was 1988.
Seoul?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where was 2008?
That was Beijing.
Beijing, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you you win that. I mean, I just felt that thing. That thing's heavy.
Yeah.
That thing's heavy, and it's a whirlwind. Obviously, it's a great experience. I mean, like, again, going back to your journey, like, you get home, you're named State Athlete of the Year by Cal High Sports, which is another huge honor. I believe it's the first in the history of JSerra. How do you take that all in as a, I don't want to, I'm not going to date you, 18, 19-year-old kid, I guess. Like, how do you take that in? Like, hey, we just won a bronze medal, first time 2008. Not only you're playing with your brother, but people you've trained with, a coach that's here, everybody else in between, playing for your country, win State Athlete of the Year, and then, like, you don't go this way. Like, you're just this way, but it's really cool to see because your journey's not over. Like, there's 28, and a chance to play in LA maybe, and there's your UCLA season for the for the next 4 years, and coming home and let's get back right in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes to how much I love being here at this school. I think just as a whole, I think this program really helped me kind of just stay level-headed. I mean, obviously, I think my coach did a good job of that, just making sure that I was staying humble with whatever happened. I mean, obviously, I think it'll hit me later in life. I don't think it'll hit me now. I think it'll have to hit me more when I realize, maybe even when I'm done playing, is when it'll probably hit me.
I defer to you guys if.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell just kind of a cool story. In the last couple of days, just emphasizing, like you said, like he's just getting started.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And his college coach was my teammate in 2004, and then hung around. He was part of that silver medalist team in 2008. Super well connected throughout the world, like water polo world, right? And so he sent a video. They're actually, UCLA's over in Europe right now. They're in Montenegro and Croatia. And he sent a video to Ryder and I of a guy named Andrea Prelanovic. And Prelanovic is maybe the greatest water polo player ever. I mean, he's unbelievable. Ryder called him the GOAT. But it was a video from Prelanovic to Ryder just congratulating him, telling him, like, hey, I like what I'm seeing from you, and I look forward to seeing you in 28, which was, like, got to be a pretty cool experience.
Oh, yeah. I mean, coming from him, I think I've modeled a lot of my game after him, just watching him pretty much from the past, like, 2 Olympics, and still now when he plays professional. So I think it's pretty cool to come from him to hear that.
And he's still active. He's still, like...
Is he still playing professionally?
Yeah, I think... yeah, he might still be playing in France. I think he was playing.
So a lot of times those European guys will finish their national team career a little bit early and then just, like, play a few additional years of professional, just, because at that point it's a grind to do both. But you don't get paid for the national team stuff really unless you win. The Serbs got 200,000 euro for winning. And a pension from their government, too, which is pretty dang cool.
That is cool.
Do you guys get some money from the USOPC? Do you get to accept it, or as a college student, do you have to wait?
I think I get to accept it.
I think prize money you get to.
And I don't know if that goes into NIL or any of that type of stuff, but, like, I can imagine. I think it's interesting in regards to what gold, silver, or bronze, like how they layer that from an Olympic structure and how they pay the athletes to do that. Yeah,
not as much though.
To go back to the Olympics, I think people knew that the U.S. had what it took, but I think there was still a lot of people that said that they weren't even sure that you guys could make a quarterfinal. So what was that like as a team to see you guys just hit every mark and to keep going all the way?
Yeah, I mean, feels great. Obviously, going back to Worlds in Doha, we didn't even finish in the top 8, and I think we had the hardest bracket, just based off the teams that were in it and based off the teams that were in the other brackets. So going into the games, we were confident, but in the back of our mind, we kind of knew that it was going to be hard, it wasn't going to be easy. And when it really came down to the elimination game against Montenegro, we probably played one of our best games against them, and from there it kind of just took off for us. We just kept getting better as the tournament went on and hit our goal, which, I mean, feels great after all the people that doubted us, which is good.
I'm tripping on your shirt. Like Polo Ralph Lauren. Is that what you guys had to wear all the time?
We had this and Nike stuff.
Okay. I was wondering, I'm like,
Yeah.
who are the sponsors that gave that shirt? Looks like it's from 1982, so I'm kind of pumped up on it. What's next? How do you get better?
Bigger. I think there's still room for me to get bigger. I think at this point there's also a lot of physical growth. Internationally, people are stronger than me. People are bigger, but again, getting reps, just more reps in those situations, I think is really big. Just learning different patterns, rhythms to the game, I think is really, really important. So I think just getting more reps, getting bigger is just two big things.
How did Coach Ormsby prepare you for the Olympics and that process of training, getting selected, and then the actual Olympics itself?
I think coming to JSerra, the most organized practice is that I've ever experienced, even national team wise. I mean, every day he spends, I don't even know how long, planning practice for the next day, the week. So I think just having a really organized practice and really knowing what we're going to do and having a routine, I think was really helpful and really helped me get used to something and kind of get in a rhythm that made me enjoy water polo, which I think was key, obviously, going to such a big stage where pressure is huge and you could face a burnout. So that was definitely huge. And then obviously I think the knowledge that he brings me and has shared with me was really big, especially just going into such a tournament.
I have two more and then I'll be done. What is your message to, it could be to people watching this show, JSerra student athletes, you know, I hate to do this, but I have to put you on a pedestal a little bit, right? Like, your message of your journey is so important and so special, but also so unique in its own right. You know, like, what would your message be to the freshman who just walked on campus, or to the senior that's about to, you know, go through their senior year before they graduate, whether they're, you know, playing, you know, girls flag football, girls volleyball, baseball, water polo, you know, your water polo teammates from last year that are returning? What's your message to those people?
Yeah, I mean, I think just believe in what you want to do. Just going back to when I first made the national team on my first trip, I didn't think me getting to this point would ever happen so early. So I think me just believing in myself every day, thinking that I knew I could do it, was huge. I mean, my first games on the national team, I didn't play well. I mean, even to my first world champs, I did not play well. I just didn't feel like I was doing enough. So I just had just sat down with myself, just thinking, I can do this. And I think that's just the biggest thing of advice, just kind of believing in yourself, thinking that you can do it will go a long way.
Nice. Can I ask Hudson a question? As one of Ryder's peers and his buddies, what's he like outside the Olympic medal, you know, outside the pool, just as a human being?
He's a fun guy, great guy. I mean, definitely, I think, a good example for athletes in general, and then also he's just a good friend. I feel like I could always rely on him to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot, too. I said I would stop, but I'm not going to. When you look at Ryder and you look at the structure of practices and the things, what can you learn from him as a water polo player? What do you study from Ryder? What are some things that you can take, you know, that are going to make you better and your team better this year?
Yeah, I think fundamentals for sure. I think Ryder's really fundamentally sound, and then I think just work ethic as well. He's a really hard worker, works hard, and he just wants it, and he lifts up all his teammates too.
Yeah, we talk about efficacy a lot, and I think that's a really important thing with you, that you're able to mold from that efficacy of making everybody around you better from your high school season to how do you do that, or who takes on that role? You don't have to answer this question, in the Olympic team, right? And so you're well versed in, I call it you're evolving, right? You're evolving to coming onto a team where you don't necessarily have to do it. You probably do that naturally. That's just kind of your aura about you, and Brett can kind of touch upon that a little bit too. But that's got to be a weird transition because, you know, you had a great team last year. You know, probably one of the best, we now can talk about it, one of the best water polo teams in the history of the nation. and you now move on to the Olympics where you don't have to do that. Will you have to do that at UCLA, or now that takes on a different dynamic? So you've got 3 different dynamics in the course of a year really quickly. And I applaud you from a 30,000-foot view, from a baseball coach's view, of your ability to be so adaptable, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But do you see what I'm talking? Do you understand what I'm saying, Brett? There.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer from my perspective. I think that leadership and communication is probably the area where he grew the most at JSerra. And he was so quiet when he first came. He kind of saw it all but didn't share anything. And then he kind of found his voice, got more comfortable holding others accountable. But at the same time, we were fortunate to have other great guys around him.
Correct,
and
yeah.
guys that helped balance Ryder a little bit in terms of, and I've said this before on here, like the intensity can be a lot. It's not for me because I'm kind of the same way, but for other people, and that's where like having someone like Will Schneider or Bodie who can like help kind of balance out a little bit work super well. From my perspective, like I think he absolutely has the ability to lead right away at UCLA. It's going to take a little bit of time because once again, like I got the opportunity to coach them at senior nationals, and I saw Ryder kind of go back to being a little bit more of an observer, a little bit which makes sense, right? So you got to get on deck, he's got to train, he's got to earn that trust and respect, which I think he'll do. And then with the senior national team, it's like hard. You were the youngest player in the Olympics, right? Water polo. I mean,
I think there's one Kai in a way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Among contributors, yeah?
Yeah.
You're the youngest. Okay.
Got to be one of the youngest, top percentage there.
Yeah. So like that's something I think by 28 maybe, and certainly beyond that. But like what we talked about is like I think he's ready to lead, but others aren't ready to like have an 18-year-old like
Accept
doing
that,
that. So
yeah.
you gotta bide your time, and you gotta earn that and continue to build that kind of cachet.
That's the adaptability, which I love watching you about that. Like that's 3 different. So my last question. It's mine, then you guys can go. Sorry, I'm.
That's all good.
I love it. It's great. Preparing for 28 and hopefully having that opportunity. Brett kind of segues into that. And especially being in LA, right? And you're at UCLA, you would be graduated by that point?
Pretty much just
Pretty
graduated,
much.
yeah.
And that opportunity, does that excite you to train, to get better? Obviously, you want to win a national championship at UCLA and go through the rung. I mean, USC, UCLA, or Stanford, Cal, I believe. Those are call it your tops. Going through, hopefully winning a national championship, going through that process. But also with that ultimate goal in mind of, hey, I could be a 2-time Olympian, 28, and I can take on a different role, or I can do this. Is that something that excites you for the next 4 years? I'm not trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
I know you have so much work to do in the next 4 years, but are you excited about that, the prospects of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think our team, just looking at it going into 28, I think it'll even be more talented than the team that we have now. Our chances are even better, in my opinion. I think a lot of people we're going to have a few people leave the team that probably won't come back. And I was just talking to Brett, but I think the future of men's water polo in the U.S. is really like good to see. I think we have a really promising group coming in. And I think, looking into it, I think I'm going to have to take on a new role. And so, looking into the future, I think, it's pretty exciting to see.
Cool. Well, we're lucky to have you here. Thanks for coming. I know you're fresh off international flights and international everything, and having a lot of croissants and whatever it is they fed you out there.
I ate nothing but carbs the whole time I was
figured,
there. It was crazy. I had pasta, I had pizza, I had croissants.
But that's got to be cool too. And I didn't really talk. And I said I would stop talking. But like having Brett there is really cool too. Like I get a chance to see one of my former players, Royce Lewis, play for the first time professionally on Monday and Tuesdays down in San Diego.
Nice.
So that's I'm going to be all elevated. But having Brett there, watching you and kids sign, you're signing autographs for kids, and your high school coach is there, and he's got he's been there, done that before, but having him there as a support, with imagine your family and friends. So, I mean, that had to be pretty cool too, minus the food we just talked about.
It's okay. We got 5 guys, but yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
There was a 5 guys there.
Yeah, I got to have lunch with the Dodds. There was 5 guys. Yeah.
What do they call? It's like what do they call it? They're like called burgers.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm thinking of a movie. I can't say the movie.
Yeah.
Cheese Royale. Thank you.
Yeah, there you go. That was cool to be there and watching them. It was a surreal experience for me. Like, it's been 20 years since I've been to an Olympic Games, so it's half a lifetime
I
ago
was
for
going to
me.
ask. Yeah.
And I had my son there, and got to spend some time with his family. They were super gracious, help me get tickets and so forth, and it's cool.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed him being there. I mean, there's a few times where, like, after the game, like, we'd get to see our parents and him, and I mean, I would, like, literally right after, I'd be like, yo, what did you think of that game? And he'd obviously just give me his input, which I thought was really valuable, especially coming from a guy that has already been in that situation before.
Are you shielded?
It took him no time to just leap right over me, though. So but I knew a while back.
You got to pass the baton.
I think someone asked me. I think it was my son asked me if I was a better shooter than Ryder, and my response was, yes, but it is the only thing, and he might have passed me on that now too.
How many goals did you have in the Olympics?
Not 8.
Not 8.
Not 8.
How many?
No.
How
We don't need to say. I had 1. Okay, I had 1.
How many did our goalie?
We don't need to go there. My son already made fun of me enough. No, I mean, yeah, he
Sorry.
Again. However,
It's okay.
If I didn't have to play the rest of the game, like I would have scored more than 1. But my coach was like, "Dude, you don't play good enough defense. You don't swim good enough. Like, I can't put you out there." So, yeah. But congratulations. Super proud of you, as you know, as much as a human being, as a water polo player, and super excited. Go win a championship for UCLA. Go enjoy that experience. Always come back, of course.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously the personable stuff, I think, obviously, Brett, your family, the school, I'm proud of you. I'm not even coach you. I'm proud of you. Like, Mrs. B's, everybody at the school, everybody in the state, everybody in the nation is proud of you. So I think what you were able to accomplish at such a young age, and being, I don't know the answer to this. When was the last time we had someone this age be on the men's water polo team?
Well, I think he's the youngest. Tony Azevedo was 18 also.
Yeah. So
it's 2000.
Been
so
done
24
twice.
years.
Been done twice. So
been in 2016. So yeah.
So 3 times. But like that's pretty cool. Like, congratulations. That's really awesome. We're all very proud, and glad that you were a Lion, and glad you're taking your talents to UCLA. Hope you win a couple national championships there, and we hope to see you in 28, where we don't have to travel so far.
He's got to go, actually, because he's going to Access Hollywood.
Wow.
And he's being interviewed by AC Slater. And do you think he knows who AC Slater is?
He has no idea who AC Slater is.
It might not even be true. It might not be, but I looked it up and it said Mario Lopez, and he didn't know who AC Slater was.
It's one of the best shows ever created. Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Good luck. Enjoy it. Thanks for coming on the show. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.